So greetings from Pennsylvania once again, and it's a foggy, kind of warm Saturday morning. Almost said September, but it's December 2nd. It's going to be warm for December, but we'll take it. We're back here at the Clarence Shock Memorial Park at Governor Dick. We've been here a couple times recently because, like I said, we're in the midst of hunting season, deer season here in Pennsylvania, so there's no hunting here, so it's a place we can come, be safe, and kind of stay out of the way of those who are hunting. But yeah, we've been here a couple times. The most recent video I was here, we did that narrow gauge, we hiked that narrow gauge railroad track that Robert Cullen built that went to the top where the observation tower is. But in that video I mentioned another site that we wanted to check out, the old radar site. Let me show you the map. Last time we were here, we parked over here, did the old narrow gauge railroad track to the top like I said, but we're parked all the way up here now, right along Route 117. And we're going to hike up trail number 10, also known as Radar Road. And right in here is the old radar site. Looks like you can take trail 11 to the top too. We might take that back down, but yeah, we'll talk about what this site is as we make our way up there. Alright, so we'll say farewell to Naomi, we'll leave her here. Say farewell to the road traffic and head on up the trail. So I'm pretty sure, head up through the gate here. The horseshoe trail comes right through here too. We did hike this section sometime back. Yeah, I think it crosses right here. Yeah, right there's the yellow blaze, so it crosses right here and keeps going this way. Yep, well, we're gonna head this way on trail number 10, also known as Radar Road. Head up into the fog. As we make our way up here, I'll give you some history of this site, and we'll see what we can find at the top too. And from what I've read, there's really not a whole lot left up here to see, I don't think. But I've read that before in cases and it turned out to be wrong. So it's kind of one of those things where I gotta see for myself. But it's an interesting Cold War era story about why there's a radar site up here. We've got some great ambiance here with the fog, but the sun is trying to poke its way through there. So we'll see. This fog might burn off in a bit, but I like this kind of hiking. Got some birds singing this morning. Almost feels a little spring-like, but it's not spring. Got 3 long, cold months of winter coming up here. So this land belonged to a man called Clarence Shock, I think dating back to the 30s. And they think he's the one that originally built this road to the top, but later when the military took over this area, they enlarged this trail, paved it, so they have a way to get to the top to build the radar. And that was in 1959. Of course, they acquired the land by eminent domain to build this radar site. Alright, there's where trail number 11 heads off to the left. We might come back down that way. We're going to stay on the main road up to the top. Radar Road. Yeah, so 1959, we're at the height of the Cold War. So at this time in our nation's history, the very real threat of invading aircraft or even ballistic missiles was a real issue. That's what these radar sites were for. They're built all over the place. They're part of what was called the Nike Missile Defense System. Yes, Nike like sneakers, but the sneakers were not part of the missile site. Nike is the Greek word for victory. So I don't think that's the sneakers. So these sites were set up because you needed radar to track any incoming aircraft or missiles, and also be able to track your own defensive missiles that were going to go up to destroy the ones that were attacking. So you needed these radar sites, and because we're not talking about like a supersonic travel, I guess you could say, planes going really fast, you needed multiple
radar sites to track just one target. You need like 3 radars to track just one target. So it had these radar sites all over the place. The site up here did not actually have the missiles. None of the actual defensive missiles were here. It was just a radar site. Those defensive missiles would have been located in other areas. Like I said, the defensive missiles were designed to strike down any enemy aircraft or any enemy missiles coming over U.S. territory. So like I said, this was just a radar site, not one of the missile sites. But it was part of the system. Getting a little out of breath. We're almost to the top there. So somewhere up here is where that site was. And there is a degree of controversy over this site. It only lasted 20 months. Because they took it by eminent domain. They spent $250,000 to build it. And then it was only here for 20 months. And then it got abandoned. But we'll talk about that later. Maybe once we get up there. See if we can find any remains. There is a reason. It does seem wasteful in the way it is, but there's actually a legit reason for that, which we'll talk about later. Talk more about this missile defense system. But for now, I just want to get to the top. Like I said, I'm hoping there's at least something left of what was up here. But at the very least, we get to tell a story. Alright, we're almost to the top. We've left the fog behind too. But trail number 11 kind of rejoins up here somewhere, and just to this side of that junction is where the site was. So, maybe just right up there, we'll see. Hoping there's at least some foundations or something like that. Because I feel like I saw at least one picture of something of that. But the whole thing was torn down at one point. Yeah, so right here is Trail 11 again coming and joining us. There is... I did see that. I think the trail to the radar site is right up there, but there's some dudes up there. I'm not sure. I guess it's just a walking stick. Almost looked like they were hunting, but I don't think there's any hunting in this park. Not sure what they're doing. Anyway, well, let's head up this way, up Trail 11. Yeah, recently a friend of mine filmed here, a topo ranger. He wasn't looking for the radar site, he was looking for something else, but he was up here and he saw on his map that there's this open area that said radar site. So that's probably where it was, is in there somewhere. But I don't want to really disturb whatever they're doing either, but anyway. Yeah, so false alarm. I just talked with them a little bit. They're just out here, I guess, bird watching and stuff, but they were like all decked out in all the orange. There's no hunting in this park, like I said, so you don't really have to wear, if you were over on like state game lands this time of year, you would have to wear, at least 250 square inches of the blaze orange, vest and hat. But here, a place like this, you don't have to, because there's nobody hunting in this park. So anyway, so I was just kind of surprised to see someone. The walking stick almost looked like a gun from way down there, so whatever. They weren't hunting. But anyway, my point being is if they were, because I didn't know sometimes places like this, sometimes they do allow it occasionally, so I didn't know if they were, and I didn't want to disturb them. So anyway, but it doesn't matter anymore. So, but we're up here, and there is evidence that there was something up here. So right down there was trail number 10, the road. It goes on up that way, and then trail number 11 came up this way a little bit. So, but there is a road to the radar site that comes right up here, right off of Trail 10. And if you turn around and look, boom, we have pavement, macadam up here. So this is part of the old road that went up to the site. Just to see pavement up here in the middle of nowhere would be unusual, unless you knew there was something up here. So I think right up on top of the hill here is where that site was. So we're gonna mosey around. Yeah, I asked them about it, and they said there's really not much up here too, so. But you never know. Like I said. It's kind of like a little field up here. Yeah, all this tall grass is kind of problematic. Even if there was some sort of a foundation out in here, I'm not going to see it. Yeah, I'm going to at least walk around the perimeter and stuff. I got to tell you more about this site too. I did see a picture of the old building. It looked like it was in the woods. Maybe the radar itself was on the top of the hill. But I clearly remember seeing a picture of a building like just off in the woods here. So I want to look for that too. Well, the building won't be left, but at least the foundations. Yeah, the road we came on, you can barely see it down. It comes up this way. Down there was the parking. So why did this site only last 20 months? And was it a huge government waste? No, because like with most things, technology is always advancing, and that was the case with this. I'll just say this system was first proposed back in 1945. But it didn't start taking shape until in the 50s. But there were, like I said, this was called the Nike missile defense systems, but there were different phases of it. The one that was here was it was referred to the Ajax phase, I guess you could call it. It was I think it was the first phase. You can think of it that way, the introductory one. And the radar technology at that time, or for these sites, was limited to 25 miles. So they needed a lot of these radar sites, to make them worthwhile, because if you're tracking, incoming missiles or aircraft, and your radar only has a range of 25 miles, you need lots of them. So that was the case. They needed lots of ones like this one here. But as time went on, the technology advanced. And even as they were building this site, the technology was advancing and developing. And it went from the Ajax phase to the Hercules phase, which had a much more broader range of operations. So they didn't need a site like this anymore. This one was kind of obsolete all of a sudden. And then, so was it a waste? No, because at the time they needed this site for the defense of the country, because it was the Cold War. There was a very real threat at any time of attacks. So while this site up here was in operation, it was needed for those 20 months for that defense system. It's just that, like again, as time went, even as this was an operation, they were developing better technology for better systems, and at some point they didn't need this one anymore. So that's why it was abandoned. So still not seeing anything, even down the edges here, but might try to make my way up this way a little bit. It's just thick through here. Yeah, I don't think I want to bust up through that stuff. Where you see that one bird feeder up there, that's where we were just on the other side of that earlier. Yeah. Didn't realize this would be so tall. Maybe they're hiding something up here. Let's keep exploring around the base of it though. So even though the military abandoned it, they're not the ones that tore it down. It was up here for a number of years. But as with many things, this is kind of like a public area. People would come up here and it just became one of those sites that attracted, those types of people. It just became a site of vandalism and all kinds of things going on up here. So the folks that owned the place, which I think at the time was the Donegal School District, they had the building torn down just to get rid of it. Oh, what's this right here though? Is that? What is that? Piece of metal pipe? Might have something to do with the site, huh? That's the only thing we can find so far. I mean, you don't just find that out in the woods. So maybe that has something to do with our radar site. We found something. I will take it. Where there's one piece of something, there might be more. I see a trail over here. I think it's trail number 11. Well, let's keep exploring. Yeah, still not finding anything super interesting. But one thing I've learned in the past is to just keep looking. Yep, there's the hill, probably where the radar was. I've learned to just keep keep looking, and you might find something interesting. Not always, but sometimes we give up too quickly. Yep, there's where that bench is. I was up there earlier, then went around the hill and came back. But let's keep looking. Yeah, some neat rock formations up here. I think this is the site. They do a lot of bouldering here at this park. I think this is the site that they call the Emerald City. I mentioned my friend Topo Ranger Brett. I think he was here just recently, exploring around here. I don't know that I'll do that today. Someplace to come back to in the future, I think. I kind of don't want to get distracted. I kind of keep looking for any evidence of that radar site yet. Like I said, there was I don't know if I saw pictures of the building. I don't really remember there being a radar on top of the building. It looked like the building was kind of in the woods too. So I'm just gonna keep looking a little bit. I'll just continue on past the radar site. This is still trail number 10. Looks like there's a trail here, an unnamed trail. Looks like it. Just want to see if there's anything back here. Yeah, this looks like a distinctive. I'll get back to you. Well, false alarm, it looks like. It looks like it's a place where they pushed material up and just left it here. Alright, well, I had to check it out. Yeah, back up at the actual site again. I mean, once again, there could be some foundations in there. But man, it is just... I mean, this brush, these weeds are as tall as I am. I mean, this one right here is taller than me, so if there were if there was like a concrete pad or some foundations left of some sort, I'm not gonna see them in here. All right. But I was hoping to see more. I did go for quite a walk down trail number 10 there, just to see if there's anything down that way a little ways. Didn't really see much, except that one little dead end trail I showed you. I feel like I want to find something, so I'm just going to go into this overgrown area a little bit here. Well, maybe more than a little bit. A little bit more padded down in here. Yeah, but even with all the vegetation like matted down, it just covers everything up. Probably full of ticks in here too, but anyway, yeah. I could be walking over something and not see it. All right. So maybe there's something hidden underneath all this stuff, or maybe there's not. You have to get a giant lawnmower in here. I feel like this site deserves like at least an information board, kind of let people know what was here. I mean, it's listed on the map, but it just says radar site. It doesn't really mention anything about the Cold War or what the radar site was used for. I guess part of that missile defense system. That's just some pretty neat information. I feel like, anyway, just a thought. So, yeah, probably right here that radar stood. Yeah, so back up on this hill somewhere was an important piece of our history, at least our local history. I mean, our national history too. That defense system was meant to defend our country in case of an attack from our enemies. So even though it's not here anymore and it was never used, it's still, it's still kind of interesting to think if things had gone differently, this site could have become a target of our enemies. If these sites are being used to attack their aircraft or their missiles, they would want to destroy sites like this. So this could have been, who knows, on their target list, something like that to destroy it. Of course, they're not the ones that ended up destroying it in the end, but yeah, sorry there isn't more to see here. I wish we could have found at least, we found that one metal pipe, but anyway, wish there was more we could have seen up here. But anyway, there's probably more to see in here. I still got to hike back on the trail number 11. Who knows? Maybe there's something down that way too. Although I did walk all the way around the top here. But at least we got to tell a story. I like telling little historical stories. It's a beautiful day to be out here too. Nothing to complain about. Oh yeah, and the pavement here too. That tells you that something was up here. Just noticed a little trail here. I wonder what. Probably just nothing here. Anyway, I keep getting distracted. All right. Probably just check out that bird feeder. All right, so I am going to start heading back now. This is trail number 11. So hook us back up with the trail number 10 radar road. Back down where I showed you earlier. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be something to see down here. I don't know. Yeah, but there's that hill where that piece of Cold War history stood at one point. Yeah, so once again, I was wishing that there was more. I was hoping that there'd be more to show you up there, but on my way down, just thinking about it, there would have been men, probably younger men up there daily, operating that radar, who, at any moment, would have been dealing with a potential attack. It's probably there never was an attack, so there was a lot of days spent up here. Just, I don't know what all did you do when you were up there manning that radar system? Probably some long, boring days up here, but they always had to be on alert, at any moment, due to the tensions, I think, that was right. We're closing in on like the Cuban Missile Crisis era, because I think that was in the early '60s there. But still, it was a very tense time between the U.S. and the USSR. So at any moment, you could have got the call and had to be prepared. All right, just something to think about. We were up there now. It's just a barren hill. Well, not barren, but just a weed-covered hill. But at one time, it was an important site up there. But I think that'll be it for this video, then, folks. I see the main radar road right down there, so I didn't find anything else. There could be something more up here. If you're familiar with the area and I missed something, by all means, let me know down in the comments below. My first time exploring this particular spot. So, but anyway, that's the way it is on explorers. Like I said, it's still good to tell a cool piece of history from the area that some people may not have been familiar with, but that's the way explorers go. Sometimes you find really neat stuff, and sometimes not so much. But anyway, it's always fun looking. All right, folks. As always, thanks for coming along, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one, wherever that may be.